Good morning, YouTube. So this morning or afternoon, we are out here at the Tri-County ATV Park. We are gonna test the Scrambler out. We finally got it back, and then we are gonna test out the bump seat that we installed in the Razor recently. How's it feel, Mason?
Good.
Good. All right, so we're just out here at the ATV Park. We're gonna mess around, check these things out, see how everything's working. Probably be out here a couple hours at most, and then head home because we got other stuff going on today. Alright guys, so as you saw from the video, the Scrambler stopped working. again. Had to get towed all the way back to the truck. So I got it back home, taking a look at it. I think I figured it out. It is it's this right here. So this is for the kill switch. So it was having a loss of power, and as you can see, that clip's broken. Well, I hope you can see it. That clip is broken and it was loose, so I can kind of put it back in there. So needless to say, I can get power if I jiggle that. I can get the scrambler to get power again. I called around. I called a local dealership that I often go to, not where I got the scrambler from, and they basically told me they can't sell me that part because I was just gonna buy the harness, right, and then I was just gonna snip the wires and be good to go. However, that's part of the actual main wiring harness of the scrambler, so he'd have to order the whole wiring harness, which is like almost $900. So the crazy part is this scrambler was just at the dealership for almost a month because the wiring harness that was in the scrambler when they sold it to me was bad. So that was the main reason I was having so many issues with it. So now, after a month, I just got it back, and the wiring harness they put in there is broken, which is unbelievable. I'm pretty pissed off about it at this point. Clearly the wiring harness is used, and I don't have an issue with that, right? I bought the scrambler used, so I mean, it's gonna have used parts, not a big deal. But the fact that they put a used wiring harness in there, and you can see the tab on this is actually broken, so they knew when they put it in there. So that's broken, and it's keeping it from staying in there, and the wire is keeping a good connection. So yeah, I don't even know what to say at this point. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I called the dealership and I talked to the mechanic. He's like, oh, let me check, and let me talk to a few people and I'll give you a call back. So I really don't want to bring it back there. It's 3 hours from here. I mean, I've driven up there a bunch. So in case you missed the whole story, we've had multiple vlogs on the scrambler. Basically, we bought it. I took it to Mud Nationals. Same day it overheated within a couple miles of use. Took it back. They had it for a week. Couldn't find anything wrong with it. I went back and got it, assuming maybe it was just a fluke. Took it back out on the trail the next weekend. Same deal, overheating, bogging down, going into limp mode. Take it to a different dealership. Or, I'm sorry, at that point, we brought it home. I did some research myself, replaced a fan relay that apparently the scrambler has a bad relay where the fan won't spin at full speed. So it's on, so you think you're good, but it's not actually spinning at full speed to cool it down. So anyway, replaced that. Took it into a local mechanic here, had them take a look at it, give me their opinion, and do an oil change and all that. And then took it out again the following weekend, drove it, whole different set of issues, went into limp mode, took it to a local mechanic there, because I'm baffled at this point on what to do. They tell me the wiring harness in this thing is totally screwed up, and that's why I keep getting all these different errors. So I called the dealer I bought it from, and they, after a long discussion and all that, agreed to the owner. I talked to the owner, and he was like, you know, we'll stand by it, we'll replace the wiring harness, yada yada yada. Awesome. So I bring it back up there. Was hoping, they said, hey, if we will try to have it back to you before 4th of July weekend. No guarantee. So I was like, all right, because I was supposed to go to town with it. So they didn't have it done by then. They said they would try. I get it, stuff takes time. Well, it took almost a month. So what they said they were going to try and do in like a week took 3.5 weeks. So I get it back, get it home, and then as you saw, this trip is our first trip taken out just to test it at the park, and it doesn't work like after a mile of riding it. So come to find out, I do some research here, you know, I'm looking at all the wiring and everything, and I narrow it down to that, and here we are. And now I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I'm waiting on the dealer I bought it from to call me back again. It might just be one of those things I'm gonna have to I don't know, figure out on my own and maybe jimmy rig it in there nice and secure in a way that's not gonna damage anything, but will hold it in there real good, because I don't know, I'm getting tired of this dealership at this point. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. You'd think at this point when they have to replace the wiring harness, they would make sure they get a good wiring harness in there. It's unbelievable. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Go ahead and end the vlog here, and I'll let you guys know what we figure out.